into Judges chapter 4, verse 16. And let's look at a particular woman, the character of a certain woman. And I'll be glad if you could ask questions. Today, I wish you had your questions so that we could, yeah. Any other person?
I want to say efficient.
Efficient. Yeah, efficient. A woman
Someone that's not
efficient.
wasteful.
Listening, please.
I said someone that's not wasteful, that doesn't waste.
Yeah, someone who is not wasteful. Someone who can put stuff together and even if it is small, yeah. Are you there? Can you read for me? Can anybody read for me, Gina, or any other person? Mrs.
You
Bochi.
said Judges chapter
Judges
4.
chapter 4, from verse 16 to 23.
Okay.
And I'll be glad if you would read not too fast, so that people can pick some nuggets there.
Okay. So Judges chapter 4, verse 16 to 23. Chapter 4, verse 6. Father, I think we're getting feedback.
Yeah, please. I was monitoring the Facebook thing. So yeah, go.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, but Barak pursued the chariot and the army to Harosheth, Hagoyim, and the entire army of Sisera fell by the sword. Not even one man was left. But Sisera fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because there was peace between Jabin the king of Hazor and the house of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet the Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my lord, turn aside to me. Have no fear." So he turned aside to her and went into the tent, and she covered him with a rug. And he said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink, because I am thirsty." And she opened a skin of milk and gave him a drink. Then she covered him, and he said to her, "Stand at the door of the tent, and if any man comes and asks you, 'Is there anyone here?' tell him, 'No.'" But Jael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg and a hammer in her hand, and came up quietly to him and drove the peg through his temple, and it went through into the ground, for he was sound asleep and exhausted. So he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said to him, "Come, I will show you the man whom you are seeking." And he entered her tent with her. And behold, Sisera lay dead with the tent peg in his temple. So on that day, God subdued and humbled Jabin, king of Canaan, before the sons of Israel. Amen.
Amen. Did you see the action of a wife here? Of the characteristics of a whole wife here? Hello? I wanted us to talk about the quality of a wife. And you've mentioned many of them. And I just wanted us to look at the story of Jael. I'm sure Jael is not a very popular figure we've been listening from. How many of us have heard about Jael before? And what did you hear?
Oh, I've read the story before.
Mm.
And
Now, yeah.
I think that the strength, being strong, she lured him in.
Yeah.
So that welcoming and being compassionate, made him trust her?
I want us to look, since we are women here, I want us to look at the character of Jael to get what we want, or sometimes to get to a particular hard decision. These days, many wives fight their position. But this evening, I just came to mention that as much as possible, wives, quality wives, should be strategic. Hello?
Hi.
Strategy is everything. In life, being deliberate and strategic is everything, or can be a lot of things. And every quality wife, every good wife, efficient, all of that comes into the strategic personality. Now, let me just give a background of Jael. Jael was in the shadows of Deborah. Remember, Deborah is a prophet. She's the seer of the nation. She is the judge of the nation. And she's a wife. So if you would look very well, verse 17, Jael is only described as the wife. Now, the wife of a man living in an area of peace, she's comfortable. Unfortunately, many women, many people for that matter, when they get to a place of comfort, they become, they relax, they become okay. So lackadaisical, they forget where they have come from or what is going on. The first characteristics of Jael was Jael that did not forget who she was. Even though his entire community, the Israelite community, is under siege, she is living in an area where there's relative peace. But she does not forget where she's coming from. Many ladies go for marriage, they marry, and sometimes they forget baby omufriba. It is important to celebrate how far we have come, but it is so important not to lose guard of where we have come from. It's important. Asante 4 chapter 3 verse 14. Atiye ma refrain. Many people relax, become atiye, so they forget. But this woman did not forget. Did not forget what? That the armies of Syria are chasing them, of Canaan are chasing them. See, the king is not so much of a deal, but the army commander was a big deal. Syria. Now, God has used the entire Deborah and the king to annihilate the entire armies, and it is left with the head. Sometimes in life, it is more important to cut the head of a snake, than to leave it, just kill it, stone it. Because now, Syria has fled the battle. And she's gone into a place of who said, Hadi, it's okay. And when Jael saw Caesarea, one, she did not panic. The characteristics of a quality wife is somebody who is strong, who is bold. Auntie Joyce said, most women, every woman should be humble. Humility doesn't mean you need to be a stooge. Let me repeat. Humility does not mean you have to be a stooge. It does not also mean you have to be hetu kra ne bro can say. Obi Moamie. Humility does not mean you have to be a stooge. It actually means you know who you are and you humble yourself to every person in your delivery, especially your husband, not just your pastor. Now, Jael is also very knowledgeable. I've talked about Jael remembers where she's coming from. Jael is also courageous and strong. She didn't panic when she saw Caesarea, the army commander, the fearsome army commander. She was calm. Jael was also knowledgeable. She knows what time it is. Many women, of course, these days, a lot of wives know a little more than their husbands. And I'm a that's what this one you should respond to. A lot of wives know a lot of things for the benefit of the home. True or false?
Somehow true.
Okay, I removed the somehow. Every quality wife should be knowledgeable. Remember, we've talked about in the home. In the home, what will sustain the home is knowledge, it's understanding, not just love. Nyodonko, nimdie ni nyansa. Knowledge of the things around you. And Jael is one. Now, Jael did something which I don't know how many women would do. That's why I wanted to bring. And now the Bible described her not as a citizen of a place, but as a wife. And for the family to succeed, for the husband who has left for the battle to succeed, the wife who is at home, Mr. Amo talked about vision. The wife who is at home should understand the vision of the family, the vision of the community, so that that wife is not wasteful. This is Jael we are talking about. She's not so much talked about. Jael has good hospitality. Some of us, we are. The people around our husbands become our enemy. Forgive me, today we are talking about quality husband. Next week, maybe if God permits us, we'll talk about quality husband too. I hope I'll do that this week, today. But Jael is hospitable. Even when she has made plans, she is hospitable. Let me mention one thing. Jael is also smart. She has knowledge. She's smart. She's able to stand on her feet and devise a plan. This is the fearsome man. We might have killed the people, but Caesarea, if we allow him to go, he is able to amass another number of people to come and attack. Now I have gotten him. What do I do? The mark of a quality wife. Judges chapter 4. The mark of every quality wife is an asset to the family to the children, especially to the husband, and most especially to the community. The woman in Proverbs chapter 31. Hello, my brother, Richard Akun. Otidan. Kobe, how are you doing? The mark of a quality wife. Knowledgeable. I was at the point of hospitable. Let me read verse 18. Jael went out to meet Sisera, and said to him, "Come, my lord, come right in, don't be afraid." So he entered her net, and she covered him with blankets. Today's wife, oh my name maintained the Quran. Or you are killing our people. But for you to gain advantage, there's need to be smart. There's need to be agile. This woman saw that if I can be defe to this woman, I will be able to succeed. And on that day, the Bible said, on that day, God delivered the Canaan king into the hands of Israel. Why? Because Jael destroyed the snake's head, the army commander, somebody's wife. She was hospitable, knowledgeable, and hospitality. Maybe you are fighting a Sisera in your house, an army commander in your house, a certain category in your house. Sometimes fight to fight, insult to insult does not work it. Can you be, let me use this crude word, can you be cunning a little bit? No, what to me you see, adodo, adodo, bro, you can't say, but bro, no, I beg you. You defer the man, you pamper the man. Sometimes fighting the man does not solve the problem. Rather, sometimes we are throwing them off. Yeah. Sometimes you know something. You have caught the man in adultery. Sometimes you'll be thrown off. Sometimes when you go with, yes, I am right, Mrs. Right. But to gain strength and power in that situation, it is smartness and pampering. That was Jael. It is Jael who is able to bring the fearsome army commander into her room. Wife. Jael was resourceful. Jael was resourceful. The quality of every wife is to be resourceful. Gina said, the good wife should not be wasteful. I'll add, resourceful. Whatever you've got, the quality wife uses it judiciously. Hello, am I talking in the air?
We're here, Father.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
The way you are quiet, I'm scared.
Yeah.
The quality wife should be resourceful, should be your friend is saying, should not be wasteful, should not be a miser, should be hospitable, but should be resourceful. I'm reading verse 19. I'm thirsty, he said. Please give me some water. So Jael opened a skin of milk, gave him to drink, and covered him to sleep. By this time, nobody knows what Jael's plans are. Jael, the man asked for water. She gave him milk and covered him with a cloth. What do you see Jael trying to do? When you are tired and you drink milk and cover yourself with cloth, what is going to happen?
You're going to sleep.
You are going to sleep. And you come never. Resourcefulness. She asked for water, but she gave milk. Still, nobody knows what Jael wants to do. Let us be resourceful. Wives, I know that every man loves a woman who is resourceful, who is not wasteful. This woman has planned what she would do. And she uses resources in her own home. You will see, the weapon she uses to kill this man is not something strange. It is something she finds around herself. Unfortunately, sometimes wives can become wasteful. Some wives can become very wasteful. But every husband would love a resourceful wife. A wife who is not wasteful. Jael has the ability of using the knowledge she has. The knowledge she has. Sisera's been working in the sun, tired, on foot. She gives him cold drink, cold milk, and now covers him so that his body will cool down. When the body is cooling down, the eyes will start closing. Consciousness begins to go away. Smartness, resourcefulness, knowledge, courage. Any question or any contribution here? Any question or any contribution here? Then we continue. Or should we continue and then I ask questions again? We are talking about a quality wife. And I'm using the story of Jael in Judges chapter 4, verse 16 to 23. I also talked about humility. And someone mentioned you should be strong. I'll add, be strong in the mind. For every plan to succeed, for the wife to be successful, it would maybe as be pinning with him. Be strong in the mind. Pinning with him. I started off with peace. The wife should be strategic in dealing with the man, the husband, the wife, the children, the family, the community. Jael was so strategic. She used knowledge. She was smart. She used the resources around her. Jael knew what time it is. She knew Sisera. She wasn't just watching Antina alone. She was also watching the news to know what is going on. Hello? Some of us, it meet mpaebɔ ho. Yɛbɛtena mpaebɔ ho saa. Some of us, it meet comedy ho. Yɛbɛtena comedy ho saa. There is more to life than that. To be knowledgeable, we need to explore so many other things. Let me add the humility I mentioned. Jael was also humble and strong. I'm adding strong in the mind and humility. See, this man thinks he is still leading his army command. So he says that, verse 20 says that, Sisera told Jael, stand at the door of the tent. If anyone comes by and ask you, is anyone there? Say no. Jael bubefo. Onza wanka ubufo befo no. Edidi atamanka wadina. You are destroying our nation. Mama milk so oh saba be mama commander ka ho. But this woman is strong in the mind and she's humble. I said earlier, humility does not mean you are a stooge. Humility is when you know who you are, you know what you can do, and yet you come low to everybody's level. That is humility. So this lady came low to the level of Sisera, who does not know what time it is. Sisera thinks he's okay. Yamane milk yanum, and he didn't to my katade home. Obi a wabre. Obeda so free. Unimo free. Oda hate no ada. She said, okay. So when he slept, see how resourceful this woman is again. Verse 21. But Jael, Heber's wife, you see, her tribe was not mentioned, but her status in the family, Heber's wife, picked up a peg and a hammer and went quickly to him whilst he was laying fast asleep. Drove the peg through his temple into the ground, and he died. This woman is so efficient. She's diligent and she does things on point. She knows the milk will fuel his exhaustion, will cause him to sleep. But then to make the body they cool it down or better. She is resourceful. She knows what time it is. That is a quality wife. Onimidia ope free kuno. Or they are the fedefe nimidia any nyansa enyan tokwane kai. Sometimes that is how come side chicks win. Osuma fidie na bema ni dem no aye din no hwe no. No aye din no hwe no. Now when it was time for her to prosecute her agenda, up till now, nobody knows what Jael would do. Many of we women, we wives, ye kasadodo. Jael did not say him. Not one of him. I'm talking about using Jael to describe quality wife. She didn't say him. And when the time came, verse 21 said, she took peg and hammer, something around her. She is so resourceful. She is able to destroy an army commander who is feared by kings and prophets with just a peg and a hammer, or maybe with milk and blankets, with hospitality. Obi antumi ma wo nkyɛn woyɛ kai dodo. Da biara na wamuna. Okunu sɛ ɔno kwa no. Yɛmfa munimuna nyi ade o. Strategically. So the day you become very hospitable, Papa didn't himself open a bunu. And oh, today this place is so quiet. Why? I'm in a quiet room today. I beg you, talk small for me. Why? Na mama min TV. When the time came for her to prosecute her agenda, she did it quickly. She's diligent. She's one time. She knows where to attack. When she took the peg through the temple, the bang. Papa name to me Uncle Wish. The army commander died. On one kasakura no names were. Wish you could have when to me and a prayer, a fighter and a wife. One prayer not bekuno. So she was able to do it one time with only resources around her. You're talking about a quality wife, efficient, can hold the house together. On cash, you or Mr. Anikunu permission, but she knows the vision. The vision is to annihilate the armies of Canaan because Israel is under siege. Even though she's in a comfortable place, she understands what is going on. If the army commander still lives, they will live to fight another day. That's one here. This woman is able to destroy this strong man. When all the men are looking for Sisera, it was a man, a woman, a wife. Just then, Barak came by in pursuit of Sisera. And Jael went out to meet him. Come, she said, I will show you the man you are looking for. So he went with him. And there lay Sisera with a peg, a tent peg through his temple, dead. On that day, God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites. And the hand of the Lord, the God of Israel, pressed harder and harder against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed him. Can a wife be a hand of God in the family, to the man, to the community? I'm talking about a wife. I'm not talking about husband. Wife. A wife. Resourceful, ingenious, courageous, strategic, efficient, knowledgeable, capable, loyal, strong in the mind. Can you hold the family together? That's a quality of a wife. Adefe, hospitability. Sometimes wives are so hospitable to people outside and they forget their husbands. Any man chance but that the plate. How do you treat this plate? How do you treat daddy's eating thing? I went to a home. I mean, name sa akwara no ni wure na fi you. Akonya daddy teso. Daddy is not there. Omudhwiri maame ni pie na ne baba akoti akonya ne so. Eni bi o de shared on. And the statement is, why are you sitting in my husband's chair? Akwara na papa o. Why are you sitting in my husband's chair? Akwara ni so you know that form. Your husband is my father. An efficient wife, a quality wife. I use Jael to describe quality wife. She didn't wait for daddy to come. Of course, these days, I don't know if it happens in Abuja. Does it? The man can depend on her. By the time the man came, she has prosecuted the agenda. When she's looking for something from the man, or they are defe. Or they are defe. Please, any question, any comments? If I've confused you enough to, please tell me. I beg you, talk up. Our friends on Facebook too, you can share something. But yeah, what I hear,
Father, some men
yeah,
are like some men would be offended if their wife, took certain approach like that.
some men, yes, that's true. That's because not every husband has manned up yet. Some husbands are still boys. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. So how would you
Yes.
navigate that if your partner or your spouse is one that would typically
It's when your husband is so chauvinistic, it's a difficult thing. But you still have a key at the fedefe hospitality. Yes, I know. Some men really don't care. But kakra, you break them. Hospitality, good talk, humility. And remember, I did not mean humility to be being a stooge or being stupid. I meant you know who you are, you value who you are, and you use that same who you are. You come to the level now. Yes, some men are difficult to deal with. Some men are proud. Some men are just, see, we'll talk about quality men very soon. We'll talk about quality men very soon. Quality husbands, we'll talk about them very soon. But some men are just too unbecoming. Agreed. But at the fedefe, good hospitality, pampering. Nkakra, not one day. Nkakra, they will begin to break down. But those that are very, very, very stiff, they also need to be talked to like we are sharing. We also need to be talked to like we are sharing. Yeah.
deliverance. Prayer and fasting deliverance.
Also, prayer and fasting for your family, like I've said earlier. Prayer and fasting, dear. Sometimes we don't need to overemphasize it. There was a cancer because that is connecting with God. That is the basic. Yeah. Any other contribution? Any other contribution, please?
I don't know if it will make sense, but I'm gonna try to make sense. I believe that in our dispensation, we go into marriage with different visions. Right? The woman have their own vision, the man have their own vision. So instead of them working together as a family, everybody is focusing on their own vision.
On themselves.
They forget to make a vision for the family. for the relationship, for the marriage, so that they work towards the same goal, right? So it makes it difficult. That's why I believe nowadays most marriages are going upside down, because I'm working towards what I want, he's working towards what he wants. Then we forget the reason why we came together as one. Right? So it makes it hard to work towards the vision. What's the vision of the marriage? What's the vision of the family as a unit? Right? I will also say, I think in terms of, you spoke about yes, we kind of hold on to cutleries and stuff and wait till like there's a special guest to come. And I like the example you gave in terms of the woman saying, "You are sitting in my husband's chair." When we marry and there's no children, the husband is the apple of our eye. As soon as we have kids or a thing, like we forget about the husband. But we still have to remember that the kids will grow and leave. So if you don't have a bond or kind of relationship with your husband, when the kids leave, you become like a roommate, because there's no bond, there's no connection. Right? So as women, we have to remember, sorry, just a Are the girls? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'll come and open the door. So sorry. So sometimes we cannot hold on to those stuff. Our husband should be our husband should be the center of everything. Sorry, forgive me. I have one of the kids coming into my house and the door was closed. Our husband, I think we should form some bond or some relationship even when our kids are younger, they are growing, because like I was saying, when they grow to a certain age, they're going to leave. And then if you don't have that connection, it's going to be very difficult to have that bond with your husband. So that, and you spoke about hospitality. I think you should be hospitable to your family before the outside. It's good to be hospitable for people to outside, but if you have a new cutleries and stuff, why are we not using it? Who are we saving it for? Right? So your husband, that's why I love my grandmother, may her soul rest in peace. I said I took a lot from her. Her husband was number one. When we cook, her husband, we had all the meat and stuff in the soup goes to her husband. She makes sure her husband. So it made it excitement, right? And they even though it was just them two and their last born, like there was a bond. There was a bond. So as us, the young generation, I think we can learn something from that. Is not all about work. It's not all about the children. Your husband too should be. I believe that if you have boys, your husband is your first child. Your husband is your first child. So you have to make sure when you're taking care of your children, you take care of them. I'm not saying, I mean, literally that he's a baby, but trust me, men love to be pampered.
Yeah, we do.
If you're a woman and you know how to pamper a man, trust me, you bring that checkbook every day.
Oh, you are telling our secret.
Every day. I was listening to this man of God, and it says, if you know what Delilah did, right? If you know how to put a man's head on your thigh and how
on
to
your laps.
You like, come on. I will stop here. Somebody else.
Yeah, hospitality. Sometimes you do hospitality, no more triable. I know. No more triable. Yeah. Any other person, please. We're talking about the quality wife, and we use Judges chapter 4, Jael as our example. Any thoughts, any contributions, any questions, please? Hello. Oh, Mongazameho. Meaning say if I talk about men right now, you have a lot to say. Anna.
And yeah, be quite father.
I know. Now, a man in the area. A man in the area now.
So I'm just gonna add on, even if we look at what Abigail did.
Okay.
Right. If you look at Abigail did, because of the kind of quality woman she was, I mean, with wisdom, right? The way he approached things, right? It put her husband in a safety way, because if it wasn't her, her husband, things would have happened. But because of her wisdom, her knowledge, right? She saved the whole household.
Yeah. Proactivity, resourcefulness, knowledgeable, diligent, smart, courageous, ingenious, the quality of a wife. Any other thoughts?
Father,
Yes, my dear.
I just want to add, I think a lot of the times women are just made to feel like we have to play a particular role, and that's our only role. And so this story, I think this story brings out how versatile and how powerful women can be.
Yeah.
And it's all a matter of how you navigate and how you use that power to not just your benefit, but to the benefit of the home.
Yeah.
I think the reason why this story, I personally, I like this story and I actually like the name, stood out to me. I know the usual, like most of the time, whenever marriage comes up, the woman's role is always be submissive to your husband, be submissive to your husband, respect your husband, which is a given, right? Generally, you have to be respectful to people in general, and the submission part falls in hand. But I think women encompasses more than just be submissive, be respectful. And this story kind of brings out some of the characteristics that as a woman you should have versus the one that we popularly talk about. So I think this was a good choice or a good story point for today. Just to encourage women in general that, hey, you're not just this one thing. There's so much more that you can be to improve on who you are, and other characteristics that can you can use to better your home and your relationship.
Yeah. Wives, I've always said that wives hold a powerful place. You know that when you are a good wife to a bad man, the bad man, after a while, wish they didn't do that ill to you. Yeah. After they've tasted some other waters, they wish they would come back. But not trim. But not trim. So, any other contributions? Let's remember Jael. Jael, she knew what time it is. And my word for women is that we should not allow ourselves to be relegated to the kitchen. This is your office. The kitchen is not your office. The home is your office. I am not saying the woman should do the cleaning and all, but she is the manager. She uses the resources around her, the children around her, the house helps around her, the hands around her to keep the home nice, to keep the home in order. That is the woman. That is the woman. The wife, I mean. Not the woman, the wife. 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 The – 'Cause, 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 ' The woman is much, much more than a baby-making machine. So many times much more than the baby-making machine. The woman can be a professional, can be at the top, and can still be a wife. A loving, humble, industrious, resourceful, ingenious wife. Young friends here, and let's go on to the men. What are some of the qualities? What is the mark of a good husband? In your estimation, let's talk about good husband. Hello, Abi, I've not heard your voice. Evelyn, I've not heard your voice. And Comfort, Auntie Theresa, Auntie Joyce, Auntie Lily. Yes, husbands. I'm not talking about men, husbands. Oh, Munkasami. When the Auntie Joyce, when I will start here.
When it comes to a quality husband, mean for the word you must on.
One more Bobby, quality.
So they have to be honest, truthful, and then they should mean what they say, right? Because sometimes, say you don't mean what you say now, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the problem with Rebecca. And you should be able to love your wife, right? That's the most difficult part. People say it's difficult because sometimes they say our way be bufu no na was wakumaba. And if that keeps happening now, then the love would diminish, right? And I think that's the most important part. You want somebody who will love you for who you are. Probably can tell you that I love you, but your behavior I don't like. So you should work on
honesty part.
Yeah, honest. And the man has to be honest. You tell the person you love her, but the behavior I don't like. And if you can work out with the wife to probably change or I don't know. Some people cannot change, but then they will try their best to cope or manage that behavior so that there will always be peace at home. Because if there is no peace, the man doesn't feel like coming home.
Wow. Any other? Gina, why are you laughing?
Because of what Auntie Joy said.
Baby, you make it better.
I'm telling you, some men are scared to go home. Yeah.
Can I get a little bit more? Any other quality of a good husband?
I think they have to be selfless.
Selfless.
And then they have to be good leaders, servant leadership.
Good leaders.
They have to be servant leaders, servants.
Oh, you have removed the good.
Emphasis on servant.
So you have removed the good and you have replaced servant. Hey.
Servant.
Richmond, Mr. They have changed the good leaders to servant leaders. Stella says, excellent communicator. A good husband should be an excellent communicator. Evelyn says should be God-fearing, which includes what Auntie Joyce said, and much, much more. Yes, God-fearing. Yes. A good husband. I like the leadership part. And so I'm adding visionary.
Is everybody born to be a leader? If the person is the man, are all men born to be leaders?
Okay, so let's do it this way. Leaders are not born, they are made. Okay. Some people, by their traits, are in a good position to be good leaders. But good leaders are made. Some, their making is intense. Others, it comes naturally because of the environment. So every man can learn to be a leader, a good leader.
Now, if the person didn't get anyone to nurture him to become a leader, what happens?
That's the problem. But you see, in every man, it's the quality of a visionary. In every man. Mode of leadership differ. Mode of leadership differ. So sometimes we need to take our time to find out, is the person leading from the front, or is the person leading from the back? Or is the person leading from groups? So somebody crystallizes groups and leads from there. So we need to understand how the leadership style of the guy. Sometimes we expect the man or the leader to act in a particular way. But then some leadership has many strands of how to get things done. For some people, the definition of leadership is somebody who is a firebrand. But modern management skills have shown being a firebrand doesn't mean you are a good leader. A good communicator is what shows that somebody is a good leader. Yeah. Abby says, a good husband is one who is able to groom and bring out the best in his wife and children. He is also one who loves like Christ instructs him to. A good husband. A good husband. Yeah. Yeah. A good husband. So Auntie Joyce, that's it. He might not be born a leader, but he can learn. So if you didn't get anybody to teach you, to nurture you, to mentor you, I didn't say a good leader is taught. It can learn. So that person makes the effort, deliberate effort to learn. Yeah. I hope that did you get that?
Father, I realize that you intentionally stayed away from my servant leadership.
Because I was looking at good. Yes, so servant leadership means leading with the people, leading by example, so if you want your people to be respectful to you, the servant leader should begin the respect discussion. So the husband should give what he wants to receive. If you want your house to be clean, you don't just instruct, you begin that agenda, that project, and then you call people along. That's what I believe is servant leadership. It does not mean you should do, if you are a servant leader, it does not mean you should do things for the people and make your people lazy. That's not good leadership. But you are able to carry the people along with you. You are able to draw the people along with you. You are able to bring the people along with you. Yeah, Stella asked what I was saying. Be a reflection of what you want your home to be. Yeah. Gina, did I touch on it?
Yes.
And let me add this. When you have practiced servant leadership, you are actually a good leader then. You don't boss it over your wife, but you make your wife buy into your vision. You make your children buy into your vision. And then, so somebody whose vision is well prosecuted necessarily is not the same person who prosecutes it. Because his people have bought into the vision, he has people in their home. The wife, who is a specialist consultant, is able to prosecute the wife's agenda. Did you hear what Jael said? When Jael's husband came, he says, "Come, let me show you the person you have been looking for." Meaning, Jael's husband has been able to sell the idea, the battle idea, to his wife. So when the wife caught that man, the vision, caught the agenda, she prosecuted the agenda, not necessarily the wife, the man himself. When Barak came by in pursuit of Sisera, and Jael went out to meet him. "Come," she said, "I will show you the man you have been looking for." Meaning, Jael's husband, Barak, did not just go. "I am going to fight Sisera. He has been a thorn in the flesh of Israel. So we need to do this so that our people will be in peace." Once Jael bought that vision, he knows who the husband is looking for, and he completed the work for him. That is servant leadership. Doing a thing, sharing the vision, and letting your people buy and prosecute that vision. Jenna,
Father,
am I on it?
right on.
Yeah.
That is very, the buy-in is very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times husbands have ideas, but it's in their minds and it's not communicated. And so you see them moving, but then it's like, where are we going?
Yeah.
It's only maybe when it gets tough, then they want to open up and share. But I think the communicating and getting the buy-in is very important, because once you have the buy-in of your wife, then it makes it easier to actually execute it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I come in for a second? I just want to comment on what.
Go on, come in, please.
I think I get what you're saying, my sister, but sometimes too, I believe that our husband, you should be a wife that your husband should be able to communicate with you no matter what. So if you are not opening up, I think some husbands, it will be tough for them to open up to you. You should be able receiving of that information. So sometimes if men are not able to communicate or say what is in it, there might be a reason why they're not. So if we give them a reason, they will not communicate. They will keep things until a certain point, like you said, when it gets tough, but then it might be too late or we cannot help. So as women, we should always be an open hand so that our husbands will feel that urge to, no matter what the situation may be, they are able to, communicate it to us.
Yeah. So in as much as men should be open with their vision, Stella is saying, which I subscribe to that too, give them a reason. Give the guys a reason to share it. Sometimes, share idea no. BBC. One of the characteristics of Jael was she was circumspect. Nobody knew her plans until she prosecuted it. Any other thoughts? Any other? Shall we turn our Bibles to Genesis chapter 24? Genesis chapter 24. Can somebody read for me? Genesis chapter 24, verse 20, verse 66, verse 60. Yeah, let's start from verse 66 to 67. 66 and 67. Genesis chapter 24, verse 66 and 67. But can somebody help us by reading for us?
Genesis chapter 24, verse 66 to 67.
Yeah.
The servant told Isaac everything that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah in marriage, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Therefore, Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Amen.
Amen. Did you pick anything here? I want us to use Isaac. I wanted us to use Isaac. For me, the first characteristics of a good husband is covering. Cover your wife. Be a covering for your wife. I always say it. Someone penal there. If you're no longer with your wife, that's another story. But if she's your wife, cover her. Sometimes you may have to cover her against the world. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother, Sarah, and he married her. Covering, assurance, security, comfort. This is what this verse says, 67. Covering. He took her home, married her, became her head, became Rebecca's responsibility. Covering. Covering. Isaac is the heir in the home. He is next in charge of Abraham. When Abraham is not gone, it's Isaac, not the servant. He put his name on Rebecca, covering. She is not a stranger. She is now the madam. That is the core responsibility of a husband. Covering. Protection. Comfort. Security. See, somebody will be asked, why didn't he send him into a home, in a room? In those days, now, Sarah's tent will be the most luxurious tent. Would be the most exquisitely prepared tent with all the spices and incenses and all that. She took her to comfort. She took her to security. Sarah was the mother of the home. Onono tumima Abraham. Mama neba. She says, you are now in charge. That is quality of a husband. Be a covering for your wife. He took her into Sarah's tent, protection, covering. He married her. Sarah made her authentic. Enti wo ha na one girl bi ninam na won ware no na da bia wo komia girl bi wa ha bra say, oh me no na tifie, I live in the same house with you, and so worry wa, there is no security there. Today, what goes on around, especially in this part of the world, cohabitation. Women, I am not saying do $100,000, $50,000, $10,000, $5,000 marriage. I'm not saying that I can't give you a budget. I am saying be married. When the man marries you, it even gives you voice in that relationship. Security. Honor. The husband should honor the wife. Honor. Me say, so on pewa, you should know that's not a different story. So anyway, Jaiwana Kumema, it's a different story. But if she still has that, there should be honor, there should be respect, there should be covering, there should be security, there should be comfort for you. And he loved her. That is where the meat is. And he loved her.